Welcome, everyone, to Homeless in San Diego. My name is Greg Angel. I'm joined by two of my amazing colleagues today, Robert Williams and Nikole Pratt. Robert and Nikole, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I'd love for you both to start off by sharing with our listeners what your role is, what you do here at Interfaith.
Sure. My name is Robert. I am a substance abuse counselor here in the Detox program that we have here at Interfaith.
Yeah, my name is Nicole, and I'm an outreach SUD counselor with our newest SAMHSA outreach program here in Escondido with Interfaith.
Yeah, the SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Department of the federal government. We have a grant that's supporting you to do that outreach. And the topic for today is addiction, homelessness, and the strategies and resources that help people overcome those problems. And you two are experts doing that work. I thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with addiction and homelessness. What does that look like in our community, and for each of you doing this work, what are some of the experiences that you see people going through who are experiencing both substance use disorder and unsheltered homelessness?
Yeah, when I do outreach, oftentimes they're sleeping on the streets or they don't have clean clothes or something like that. So they might be suffering from lack of self-conscious. And I feel like that also adds to addiction. What's really important to understand about addiction is that it's not simple willpower to just say no.
Hmm.
Because if that was the solution, there wouldn't be programs like ours. Um, they've been often using for many years, or due to their current circumstances, recently led them to start using. Um, and a lot of what I see is that when they're unsheltered, they tell me, I don't want to use, but people are going to beat me up and steal my stuff at night. So I have to use.
Hmm. So sad.
Yeah.
Well, when Nicole brings them to us or they come to Interfaith, um, I also see what they look like, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually.
Hmm.
It's like they've been defeated. And addiction is a, a, a real monster because it's something that people look at as an escape from their reality. They don't like what their life looks like, and they've had a taste of something that gives them euphoria, that makes them forget, numbs themselves from whatever they're going through. And before they know it, they have to have it every
Hmm.
day in, day out. And we get individuals that come to the point like, I'm tired of living my life like this, right? And so they seek assistance and help. And this is where we step in, right? I treat every client that comes in with dignity and respect because they're human and they deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joy and an honor to work with them, letting them know that, hey, someone cares. Someone still loves you. Want to teach them how to love themselves once again, but we have to take baby steps. So I invite them in.
Our podcast listeners know that we always have a call to action at the end of episodes, and most of our episodes feature people who have experienced and overcome homelessness. And when we ask, what can our listeners do? When we ask those individuals, they almost always start off with the exact same thing: just treat people with respect.
Mm.
Look somebody in the eye, let them know that you care about them with just how you look at them and how you talk to them. So it's really powerful, Robert, that you share about that as a core value and a core way that you work with every person coming into our detox. I'd love for our listeners to better understand why detox is necessary. I mean, you shared, Nikole, it's not just a choice, right? There's a reason these programs are necessary. Um, I think it'd be helpful if, Robert, if you can walk through how the detox program operates, as well as kind of why that's necessary, why why do we need to have a 14-day residential stabilization period? Um, uh, and then after that, we can talk about kind of what it's like to for Nicole for you to bring people into that program.
Well, you pointed right on the head with stabilization. Um, our program is 14 days. Um, we bring them in, we do a screening, and we do the screenings to see if they qualify for our program.
Mm-hmm.
We want individuals that have an addiction problem. And once we bring them in, um, our 14 days begin. We do an intake with them. We do documentation. We have them sign documentation covering their confidentiality. Um, and once they're done with the intake process, they come to me, right? They come into my bunkhouse. I call it a bunkhouse, place where I have 6 beds. At this time, we go through all of their articles of clothing, anything they bring in to make sure that not bring anything to harm themselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
That falls in substance or glassware, anything like that. And once we do that, we actually put their phones up if they have a phone for 3 days. Um, our the first 3 days is dedicated for them to get rest, feed themselves, and just get a peace of mind. We make sure they get three meals a day. Uh, we have hygiene kits for them so they can shower as long as they want to, as much as they want to. If they come in with the clothes on their back, we have a change of clothes for them. Clean underwear, clean socks, shower shoes so they don't have to walk on the floor. A pair of shorts, a t-shirt. You know, we have linen for them to lay in the bed and get warm and stay warm and sleep. We give them, provide them Gatorade for electrolytes to, um, re-energize, and we have Gatorade for, I mean, not excuse me, Gatorade, but ginger ale because a lot of them have queasy stomachs.
Mm-hmm.
I also have snacks. A lot of them can't handle a big meal, so I have something to snack on. Basically, what I do, I try to make them feel welcome. In the first 3 days, they just sleep, eat, and rest. After that, they get introduced to a counselor who works with them on a one-on-one basis. They also have a therapist that is assigned to them so they can talk about anything that's beyond my scope of practice as a counselor. We ask them, what does life look like after detox? And we try to assist them in every fashion we can. We make sure that they go to the hospital if they need to go to the hospital, doctor's offices, they need to do that. And we
Which is
have
located here at this location,
Right,
right?
we have neighborhood health on site,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have an emergency room for mental health. It's a place called Exodus that's located in Vista, and we're able to take them there to talk to therapists and allow them if they need diagnosis or medication. We get them temporary medication so it gets stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
We also offer transportation to go to MAT services, which is medically assisted program for those who are struggling with opiate addiction. A lot of people frown on it. However, it's a harm reduction modality, and it does work.
And so, what are the most frequent substances that people are addicted to that they're coming into our withdrawal management services program to address?
Our most populars are alcohol, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, opiates. Um, Cannabis, of course, because it's legal in everywhere, just like alcohol. But
Hmm.
the major three are alcohol, methamphetamine, and fentanyl. Fentanyl has been a wild beast running through the country for a few years now, and a lot of people are ODing. And the importance of a detox program, I can tell you right now, it gives a person an opportunity to try to find their life once again.
Hmm. Nicole, you provide those opportunities every day when you go out and outreach to people. Can you share a little bit about how you do that work and what that looks like?
Yeah. I think it's important that, just like what you said, anytime I reach anybody, I look them in their eyes, and I talk to them with respect because they are just as much human as any of us,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Um, the love and the compassion that we can even share just through looking somebody in the eyes can make a huge difference in itself. Um, Oftentimes, what I see individuals that are experiencing homelessness and they want to stop living that way. And they're homeless due to different reasons all around. Um, but it is really difficult to try to stop using when you're in an unsupportive environment, right? It's important for me to have those conversations with them about what sobriety might look like for them because oftentimes the people who they are talking to aren't there to help them or to support them.
Hmm.
Um, it's, been a challenge when somebody finally says that they are ready and they wanna get sober.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't have quite the bed capacity, right? So it's really challenging when I am working with other, detox programs in the area as well, and they're also full.
So I want to make sure our listeners totally understand this because it's a foundational point, right? That you're connecting with people in this really pretty profound way when you think about the fact that they're living on the street in a gutter in an abandoned car, struggling with substance abuse, and they decide they're ready to change that, but there's no bed available.
I could see them become hopeless in their eyes,
Mm.
and I see that, oftentimes they start crying, they get upset, because it's a huge decision to make, to finally give up that something that has been helping them survive on the streets and say, "Okay, I finally accept that I can't do this on my own and that I need help." It could be a real big deal to admit that. And so when they do finally admit that and I'm able to bring them in over here, it's quite a beautiful experience to watch. I'll assist them by providing um, transportation to our program here. And then once they get in here, then they go through the process that Robert had talked about. Right now, currently, Interfaith Detox is an all male program. As an outreach worker, I work with all gender. So I work hand in hand with the other programs as well. So it's really important for me to make contacts with them. And I also do the same as I would for anybody in my program. And I would provide transportation to that program and make sure that they get what they need in order to secure a safe place to stay that night that's going to support their sobriety goals.
So you're working exclusively here in Escondido, and that work is focused on helping people of all genders get off the streets and get into treatment programs. For males, they can come into our program, but as you said, the problem is our beds are usually full. Our detox, our withdrawal management services, the program we're talking about, operates north of 90% occupancy. So that means most days there is not a bed available. But the good news and the beacon that we're all looking forward to, the beacon of light, is that we've secured a an additional contract from the County of San Diego, who funds our program currently, to expand this detox program. And so we have already prepared and we just finished the renovations at our former Haven House shelter space to create a 32 bed residential withdrawal management services program. We currently operate 11 beds total. So we're going to be able to expand from 11 to 32. But we have one last remaining step, and that is actually to get approval from the city of Escondido through city council through, it was a little technical, but this is a modification of what is called our conditional use permit, which governs the operations of our organization here. We're at the location where Haven House is, where our withdrawal management services program operates. At our 550 West Washington location here in Escondido, we have a conditional use permit that dictates and allows us to do certain functions. And so we went before the planning commission here in Escondido this week, actually. And Nicole, you were there and helped support us. I appreciate that. And we had a number of interfaith supporters there as well. So thank you to those supporters who may be listening today. And the planning commissioners who were hearing and providing their recommendation on city staff's request to approve our expansion of Detox. The planning commissioners um, spoke really passionately about the importance of this program. It was really heartening to hear their support and their understanding as citizens here in Escondido of just how needed these programs are and just how impactful they can be. So we're really excited and looking forward to expanding. Um, we go to Escondido City Council on February 19th, and this episode will be released before then. So if you're listening before then, we'll have information in the show notes on how you can support and provide a letter of support to council to recommend that this expansion be approved. And then also, we're inviting our supporters to come and show their support by joining us at council that evening. And we'll have a great group of people there. And I've been working personally with our mayor over the last year on this expansion. He's very supportive, and I'm very confident that we're going to have the support of City Council. But we don't take anything for granted. So um, we share that with our listeners today. And if you're listening to this before February 19th, invite you to join us that evening and help share your support for this really critical, life-changing program. Because, like you said, Nicole, the heartbreaking reality is that far too often we don't have a bed available today with just the 11 bed program that we operate.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to, highlight the opioid epidemic because the data for people who are overdosing and dying were over 3,000, and that in 2022 the overdose rate in the county was higher than the actual complete national rate. And
More people, excuse me, more people overdosing locally here than in other parts of the country. That's really disturbing and sad.
And often when I'm not able to bring them in, then I offer them Narcan, which, for people who might not know what Narcan is it allows a temporary reversal of the overdose. It is not in replace of medical attention. Um, Medical personnel should still respond to that individual. When they experience an overdose, oftentimes that triggers them to then realize what exactly they're doing with their life
Hmm.
and how, in a blink of an eye, their life got away with them and addiction got a real strong hold on their life. Um, you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And none of them said they wanted to be a drug addict, you know. We also offer for outreach fentanyl testing strips because what is happening is people often that are using meth are saying, well, I'm not using fentanyl. I'm not going to experience an overdose, but
Hmm.
it can equally get combined and mixed in. And for fentanyl, just like the size of a salt, that little amount for somebody that doesn't do fentanyl on a regular basis can cause an overdose.
Can kill them instantly. Or if it doesn't kill them instantly, if it creates an overdose, Narcan can, in many cases, reverse that overdose and save their life.
Yes.
And here at Interfaith, we've been distributing Narcan and utilizing Narcan within all of our programs and at all of our locations. Do either of you want to share a little bit about the experiences that you've seen and the impact that that Narcan intervention has been able to have?
Sure. Unfortunately, um, we have had cases where individuals have overdosed here at Interfaith. And as counselors, we train to use Narcan in the efficient way until 911 or the paramedics show up. Um, I can't even count the times that I have used this and was able to save save a person's life and keep them on the cusp of life rather than death. Um, Fentanyl is just a rough drug that's going around and everyone uses it. And it's great to have something to assist a person before they take themselves out.
Yeah. And to be clear, and very thankfully, every overdose we've had here since we launched our Narcan prevention program has been able to be reversed.
Yes.
And thank God nobody has died here as a result of those overdoses. But um, it doesn't mean that it won't happen in the future, because it's such a dangerous drug and it can happen so quickly. But I want to thank you, Robert and Nikole, and just share my thanks to our entire team who save lives. I would say, unfortunately, all too often, right, when these things occur. And also just to educate our listeners on the importance of Narcan. This is not something that has to be, exclusively the realm of a drug and alcohol service provider like ourselves, a substance use disorder provider. These can save lives out in the community as well. So we'll put links in the show notes on how you can get access to Narcan, get trained on how to use it. It's very simple. It's just a nasal spray. And you can, to our listeners, you can pick that up and have that in your household in case you ever need it. It is a true lifesaver. And going back, Nikole, to the harm reduction services that you were talking about, it occurs to me that that's very much a part of building that relationship with people, to not just keep them from overdosing and dying, but also to build that relationship so that they're ready to take a positive step forward.
Yeah, and checking in on them regularly.
Hmm.
Especially if I didn't make a connection to a detox program that day, it's important just to see in their eyes when I do come back and I'm like, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. I want to check on you. People aren't doing that a lot. And when
Hmm.
that happens, it means the world to them that somebody remembered them by their first name
Hmm.
and came back to check on them is really important. And oftentimes um it's about building that relationship. They may not trust me right from the get-go, and they might not be ready on that day, and that's okay, right? The point is to continue to make it feel like I'm a safe person for them to talk to, and that when they are ready to help, then they know who they can contact to get the help that they need.
Absolutely. So going back to the detox program, people are in it about 14 days. So that's
Hmm.
the maximum stay. Robert, where are individuals coming from who are coming into our detox?
I want to say about 70% come from right here in Esco.
Okay.
Um, Nicole brings in a lot of our clientele, and when we find out that they're from Esco, it's like, okay, you know, she showed them love and concern, and we take over. I want to have that same energy with them and let them know that you're in a safe place, and we're willing to assist you in what your needs are. Um, and so once they're in our program, we find out, what does life look like after detox. And if they're interested in a residential program, that is our main goal, is to try to get them into a 90-day program.
What's your rate of success for people who are interested in a treatment program, in helping them to be able to access that?
Oh, we have a high success with that. I really want to say 80 to 90%. I help out as a program. We help out tremendously. We give a person an opportunity to change their lives, and we open the doors for them, and it's just their choice. Um, I love what I do.
Hmm.
I know that I make a change, and I just before this podcast, I ran out to get my milkshake.
Strawberry
And
milkshake,
yeah, strawberry,
which I'm wishing
and
I had right now.
uh-huh,
But yeah,
it was delicious.
yeah.
However, as I was going out there, there was a past client that came that was visiting, And when I saw him, he came and gave me a hug. He said, "Thank you so much.
Mm.
And I'm glad you're still here." And small things like that, I already know that we make a difference. We truly make a difference in people's lives if they choose to do something different. We're just opening up the doors. We're providing them education, love, and support. And I know for a fact that detox helps out tremendously, especially when they're going transitioning over to a residential program. Once you go into a residential program, they want you to start going to groups and start, getting active in your recovery efforts. Well, a lot of people that are coming from their addiction, their active addiction, they need time to gather their thoughts. So if I went into I know for in the past, when it was time for me to go into a residential program, the night before, I'm doing my last hoorah hoorah. I'm going to use,
Yeah.
I'm going to, get high for the last time,
It's very
drink.
common.
Right,
Yeah.
very common. So the day they come in, they're doing paperwork and they're slurring. It's like, okay, this person's going to need a few days to gather their thoughts and get themselves together.
Before they can really
Right.
begin the process of
Exactly.
recovery.
So that's the importance
Yeah.
of detox. Also,
Yeah.
we give
Yeah.
them an opportunity to get that time
Mm-hmm.
and start thinking about, what do I really want to do? Do I really want to go back to the life that I live, or do I want to do something different? And then you start talking about treating their bodies in a better way, getting medical assistance, their mental assistance, and their emotional. We start talking about, how are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one really asked me how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
and just asking them how they feel makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Nikole, we were talking about somebody, an individual who you helped get off the streets just recently. Well, not too recently, like it's maybe a month or two ago. Um, and we thought I thought his experience and the work that Interfaith has been done to be able to support him was one to share with our listeners. Can you share a few details that you can to help our listeners understand kind of what the impact of a detox program combined with a outreach team like yourself can create?
Yeah, this person in particular didn't have a phone.
Mm,
And oftentimes it's, you got to call into the program.
mm.
And so that could often be a barrier.
That's one of the most traditional ways to access the program. There's a central access line. You call, you make an appointment, right? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if you don't have a phone, obviously, yeah.
Mhm. And um the outreach team had notified me somebody that might be interested um over here actually in Escondido on Escondido Boulevard and Grand at the little park is where we saw some individuals
Mm,
sleeping for the evening.
mm-hmm,
This was about 6 o'clock in the morning. And we went around, hey, there's detox beds. Is there anybody interested?
mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, "Oh, I'm not too sure." And I says, "It sure is cold out here." And I says, "So you can think about continuing drinking and staying out here in the cold under your tarp, or you can come in and get sober and have a nice warm bed to stay and 3 meals a day." And I really sell it to them. I say, "Even if you didn't feel good, I'll bring you breakfast in bed. You don't have to go sit with the others."
That's right.
Mhm. And he came in and he got a hot shower, a new pair of clothes, and the moment he walked out of there, I was already like, "Excuse me, are you part of this program?" I almost immediately didn't recognize him.
Wow, that quick.
He has
Yeah.
since been engaging with his counselors and his therapists, been engaging with his supportive community
Mm-hmm,
here
mm-hmm.
that are also trying to learn new ways on navigating a sober life. And he's just been tremendously learning new skills and is just so happy to be here.
Yeah, and Nicole brought him to me into detox, and he was a little shy. He was uncertain. He didn't want to ask questions. However, I warmed him over. I said, "Hey, man, whatever you need." He said, "Well, I can sure use a jacket." I said, "No problem." So I happened to go find a jacket, and we've been having this jacket for a long time. And it was a really nice jacket. And so I brought it to him. He said, "This is mine?" I said, "Yes, this is yours." He said, "No." I said, "Yes." And I can almost see this young man have tears in his eyes. I said, "Man, is there anything else I can do for you?" "No, I think I'll be okay." I
Hmm.
said, "You will be okay." And so, he went through my detox program, and we asked him what was he trying to do, and he's like, "I don't want to go back to the streets. I don't want to start I don't want to drink anymore." And we asked him, "What about a 90-day program where you can learn about, why you do what you do?" And he said, "I think I can go for that." I said, "Okay." And we transitioned him from detox to a residential program. And now when we see him, it's like uh he's a new person, not the person that we and that's the wonderful feeling and things that I get to see and witness.
Mm-hmm.
When they first come in, they're toe up without a shadow of doubt. They're just mentally and physically are just tore up. And here it is about 30, 45 days later, and they look amazing. They sound amazing. They look amazing. They act amazing. It's like I see the human being in you,
Awaken.
a true awakening. And
Mm.
it's a wonderful thing. And it brings tears to one's eyes when you see that just a little love and care and concern goes so far. And we have people like, "Is that such and such?" "Yes, it is." "No." "Yeah. I don't even recognize that person." I'm like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
he's come a long way, hasn't he?"
Hmm.
So yeah, it's some success.
Amazing, amazing, profound impact. Thank you both for the work that you do, and thank you for so eloquently and um, uh, effectively sharing just one person's journey. And to think that last year we worked with hundreds of people in our detox and our recovery programs. And for our listeners, we also operate and provide that 90-day residential treatment program. We provide that here at our Escondido location, and we work with other providers who provide those similar services. Okay, we're going to wrap up the episode. We always end with calls to action. I shared earlier, there's a big call to action because we urgently need to expand this detox program, right? We need more people to experience the young man's journey who you both just described, and
Absolutely.
we need more beds to do that. So, to our listeners, please uh, provide a letter of support to our city council, encouraging them to approve our expansion. If you're listening to this also before the hearing, the council meeting on February 19th, come out and join us. It's 5 o'clock, Escondido City Hall. If you've never been to a city council meeting, they're a lot of fun. You get to see government in action, and we'll be there. So if you want to hang out with us, you can come as well. Wear blue. We're all going to wear blue to show our support that evening. So it'll be a good
Okay.
time. So that's one call to action. Robert, I know you had something else that you wanted to lift up for our listeners.
Yeah. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that everything will go the way supposed to, and our 32-bed expansion will be approved. My call to action, what we really could use in our detox program, hygiene items and clothing and shower shoes. So the thing about it is, at one time, if this expansion happens, I'm gonna have 32 men in one room, and there's gonna be a lot of showers happening and a lot of soap being used, and a lot of people that come with only clothes on their back.
Hmm.
So t-shirts, underwear, socks, jogging pants, shorts, sweatshirts, um, cosmetics, those go a long way for us to keep our doors open, but also to keep the men engaged and feeling welcome. We're going to provide things for them. We're going to find a way. But if any of the listeners want to assist us in any way, that's what we can use. We can use all sizes. We can't ask for shoes because everybody doesn't wear a size 9. So that's just impossible. But the shower shoes, those go a long way so they don't have infections on their feet walking around on the floors in the showers. And they just need something to put on their bodies, clean underwear, socks for their feet. I want them to feel loved and welcome. And that's my job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so to our listeners, that's a really manageable way to assist. New underwear, new socks.
Correct.
We can take used other clothing,
Oh,
right? Like
absolutely.
obviously good condition, right?
Yeah, good condition.
And then hygiene items and shower shoes.
Yeah.
So those can all be donated and dropped off here at our 550 West Washington location. Basically, any business hours, Monday through Friday. But we're always here, so if you need to come a different time, just reach out and we can schedule that. Um, Nikole, call to action. What would you like our listeners to do? They're motivated. They want to help. They're appreciative.
Yeah, I would say that as a homeless outreach worker, like I can't tackle homelessness on my own.
Hmm.
And when they are out on the street, driving down the road or something, just stop if they're crossing the road. Be courteous. If you're standing in line and you see them, like you mentioned, just look them in the eye and say, "Hi, good morning," you know? Um, it might not have to go much further than that, but just acknowledging their presence.
Well, thank you both for those calls to action. We're going to wrap up with another very important calls to action, and that is if somebody who's listening needs this program, wants to access the program, or somebody in their life wants to access the program. How do you get in? Because we have such limited beds, individuals don't just walk up and receive the service. They either call and schedule a time to come in, or Nikole, you're outreaching to people as you described. So there are a couple ways that people can connect. There's a call in number to reach somebody, and there's also a HIPAA privacy compliant text line. Nikole, you want to share those numbers for people who may be interested?
Yeah, the triage receptionist here at Recovery and Wellness can be contacted at 760-489-6380, extension 193. You can also call and say, "Hey, I spoke to somebody at Jack in the Box. They might be interested. Can you send somebody out?" Or anybody looking to get plugged into Detox could talk to her.
Oh, that's fantastic. So just want to make sure our listeners understand. So they can call 760-489-6380 extension,
193.
and then they'll speak to our receptionist who is dedicated entirely to our addiction treatment programs. And that includes, hey, I met somebody at Jack in the Box who's interested, or outside of the Jack, who's interested in this program, right? That's really an amazing resource to be able to provide.
And if they have a phone, they can also text 760-203-3350.
Can you say that number one more time? This is the text line for anyone wanting to access this help.
760-203-3350.
Cool. We'll put those in the show notes as well. Um, I can't thank you both enough for coming on the show, but most of all for just doing the work that you do, for being who you are, and for creating positive change every single day and getting people off the streets and into our programs and making these amazing transformations, awakenings
Ah,
possible.
Thank you for letting us come and speak on behalf of the withdrawal management team and the homeless outreach. It does wonders, and we're dedicated to this. This is what we signed up for, and we look forward to any of the listeners to contact us. Bring people in that needs help. We call ourselves change agents. That's what we like to do. So thank you for letting us come on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
A lot of our listeners, we've had guests on the show who shared that they heard the show when they were homeless, and it actually was part of something where they said, I not only do I want to get off the streets, I want to share my story. So if somebody's listening to this and they're in the depths, do you have anything that you can share with them?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Hmm.
Everyone needs help. You came into this world with help. When you were born, the doctor pulled you out of your mother. As you get older, you go to school, they teach you. When you get as a young adult, you go and try to find an apartment or a job, someone helps you. They help you by paying you. And as you get older in life, you're going to need help because your body is breaking down. It's a natural phenomenon of life. Ask for help. Please don't be embarrassed and don't be too shameful and guilt ridden. Man, there are people out there that's willing to help you. All you have to do is speak. Closed mouths can't be fed. Ask for help. That's what I would tell you.
What I would say is that it's important to be honest and transparent with the thoughts that are happening in your mind. If you feel like you might be struggling, wanting to live, or are just feeling hopeless, like you might want to hurt yourself or others, 988 is the crisis line. You can contact them. There will be somebody there at 24 hours a day that will listen to you and provide some support and might even be able to send somebody out to help and support you no matter where you're at and whatever time of day it is.
988 is the crisis line. Nikole, Robert, thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners for being with us in a very powerful episode and for being a part of supporting the positive change that we create for people one person at a time. To our listeners, have a great day. We will see you again, or you'll hear from us again soon. Robert and Nikole, first time on, definitely hope it won't be the last. Look forward to inviting you to share more about these programs in the future. Thank you.